of these things. Everything cheap. Food cheap.
Quite big.
Transportation cheap. Horse building in Asia. Here and sunbathe if you want it. It's a must. You must come to Penang. It's cheap. Malaysia is very cheap. I love Malaysia. Alright guys, good morning from Penang, Malaysia, and the point of this vlog is simple. I want to show you how expensive Penang, Malaysia is. The second biggest city in Malaysia, very touristy, awesome place. I've loved my time here. And I'm going to show you just how expensive it is. I currently have no cash on me, so I'm going to go to an ATM right now and get some money out. Alright guys, so I just took out 300 ringgit. There's the notes there, mainly 20s and a couple of 50s, which is nice, pretty good. That should last me a couple of days. I don't mind getting out small amounts of currency because most ATMs here there's no foreign charge, which is pretty awesome. So as you can see here, I use an app called Currency Plus on Android, and 1 Malaysian ringgit equals 21 cent euros, 24 cent US dollars, 1.65 Chinese yuan, and 19 pence in British pounds. And I always use that app if I'm going to try and calculate my conversions and try and help me budget and see how much I'm spending. So let's go and explore Penang and see how much it costs to explore Penang. Alright, so just got this Big Mac meal here. It cost me 12.95 ringgit, and that is about half the price you pay for a Big Mac meal in the West, so not too bad. Alright, so I'm just going to go into the Gamio department store. Apparently it's some pretty good price food and clothes, etc, 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 etc. Let's check it out. Alright, big pack of noodles here for 7.70. Curry flavoured noodles for 3.30. Vegetarian noodles for 3.30. All these noodles here are around about 3 to 5 ringgit, so very cheap for noodles here. Carton of milk there for 4.89 ringgit. Strawberry milkshake for 2.40 ringgit. And you can get pretty cheaply priced toiletries here. 11.90 for a pack of toothpaste and 2 toothbrushes. And all different kinds of cheap toiletries here. Hair gel for 10.99. Actually that's shaving foam, sorry. But here, hair gel for 10.80, big huge box of hair gel. Hair cream for 6.50, pretty cheap. And so you can get really cheap toiletries here in Malaysia and in Penang. 6 pack of Kit Kats for 6.50 ringgit. Big pack of milk chocolate there for 4.50 a ringgit. Pack of dairy milk chocolate for 6.99 ringgit. 12 pack of eggs for 4.30, and a big bottle of mineral drinking water, 1.5 litres for 2.20 ringgit. You can get it there for 1.30 ringgit, and there for 1.60. And so I just got these 3 items here: the Kinder chocolate, my favourite, the pomade gel, and some strawberry milkshake for 35.95 ringgit. So that's how much that cost. Alright, and so I'll show you more prices of street food and food as the day goes on, but one of the biggest questions about Penang is how expensive is transportation? Because that's a very important thing, right? That was what rips into your budget when you're in different cities or different places around the world. You can get buses here in Penang for very cheap, and you can get them a bus for like 1 ringgit to different places. Super cheap to get buses. I have had a couple of grab taxis here to get to temples and places, which you'll see in my other vlog when I explore Penang, and the grab taxis were about 10 ringgit for about a 10-kilometer journey, which is pretty good, I would say. And so Grab's the best option here. You must have Grab if you're in Southeast Asia. Avoid the scams. Go with Grab, it's much easier, cheaper and efficient. There is no metro here in Penang. The only way of getting around is by bikes. They have bikes here, which I might get today. You can rent them out, sort of like Boris bikes that you have in London, so you can use them. The ferry to get you over from mainland Malaysia to Penang Island is 1 ringgit, 1 ringgit 50 or something. So it's super cheap. And even buses in and around Malaysia, like from here to Kuala Lumpur, like I said, say on my Kuala Lumpur vlog, it's about 60 ringgit. So yeah, it's cheap, man. tourist attractions here in Penang are very, very cheap. I'll show you some clips from my other vlog. I'll put them in right now. And so as you can see there, most tourist places here, like the towers and temples and stuff, either free or very, very cheap. So you can have no problems doing touristic stuff here. It's very, very cheap. And yeah, it's awesome. Alright guys, I've not had a haircut for about 2 months. It's starting to get long, and with the humidity it's getting a little bit sweaty and sticky. So I'm going to get my haircut here in Penang and show you how much a men's haircut costs you at the barber shop here. Take a look at my hair right now. Go all the way around. All the way around there as well. Check it out. Check it out. And then I'll get back to you after the haircut. Boom! Voila! So, that haircut here, this one, I look a bit fresher now. A bit cleaner. A bit more human. That haircut cost me 25 ringgit. So, for that haircut, pretty good value for money. It was a pretty good barber's. And he did a nice job. I feel good. And yeah, 25 ringgit for a haircut here in Penang. Good value for money. Just at these beautiful botanic gardens here in Penang, and I thought I would talk to you about one of the most important things on budget travel, and one of the most important things of this video is accommodation. How much does accommodation cost in Penang, Malaysia? And the answer is very, very cheap. My hostel costs me 20 ringgit per night. This is my hostel here. There you go, my dorm is a 24-bed dorm. A lot of people, but actually there's only about 8 people in there, so it's not too busy. I guess in the high season, whenever that is, maybe they fill 24 and it's pretty busy, so won't want to be there then. Very basic bathroom. There's really not much to shout home about. It's just basically a bunch of rooms, a bunch of lockers, and that is about it. It's budget, but it's $5 US, and that was my room I just showed you before. Not much to shout home about, but there you go. Cheap, 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 cheap. That's what I'm about anyway. Seeing the world. I'm not spending too much money. It can be done. And so as you can see, it's very basic. You can get more expensive hostels for like 30, 40 ringgit, but I wanted to just budget in my time in Penang, and that's what I've done. But you can get Airbnbs for like 50 ringgit, 60 ringgit, really nice ones, air conditioning, nice sofas, nice couches, TV, you know, etc. And then you can get hotel rooms as well for super, super cheap as well here, you know, for like maybe 60, 70 ringgit as well. So accommodation in Penang is much like the rest of Malaysia, very, very cheap. And yeah, I wouldn't worry about breaking the bank on accommodation in Penang, because you can get some very, very cheap accommodation here. And I've been very impressed by how cheap Malaysia's accommodation actually is, because it doesn't feel like a third world country, yet the accommodation prices of hostels and Airbnbs could be comparable to a third world country, like a Southeast Asian economy like Vietnam. At times it can be that cheap, so very impressive. So I wouldn't worry about accommodation here. It's super cheap. Best way to find accommodation, cheap accommodation in Malaysia is pretty much like the rest of the world. Hostelworld, booking.com, them sort of websites, you can find really cheap deals. Very, very easy. I think the only country that doesn't really use Hostelworld is the Philippines, but for hostels in Malaysia, use Hostelworld, get lots of cheap bargains. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Alright, so as you just saw then, just bought some chicken wings, street food here in Penang, and it was 6 ringgit for, I'm not too sure how many chicken wings I actually get in here, but let's just find out. Not too many, maybe about 6 chicken wings, and they're not that big in size, but not too bad. 6 ringgit, and they smell delicious. Ooh, Malaysian style chicken wings, whatever that means, so I think they're quite spicy. So yeah, pretty good. Alright, so just had a little taste of the chicken wings, and it tastes very, very nice. A little bit greasy, but very good. I've got this Percasa energy drink, cost me 280 ringgit. And so I'm gonna wrap up this vlog right now, but I hope I've proven to you that Penang is very cheap. Malaysia is very cheap. It's a great place for a backpacker. It's a great place for any traveller. And yeah, man, accommodation cheap, food cheap, transportation cheap, everything cheap. It's good. I love Malaysia. This drink's nice too. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up anyway, so thanks for watching. I'm gonna do as much of these sort of type of vlogs, how expensive places are. The more I go around the world, the more I do, and the more I show you that traveling the world doesn't have to be expensive. You've just gotta look for the right budgetable stuff, and places like Malaysia are perfect for the budget. So yeah, all the way from Penang, Malaysia. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.